Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV and welcome back to the Friday Night Social, and it's the 29th of May and we've got our guest on tonight. We've got Chris, we've got Karl, we've got Alan in Melbourne, we've got Martin, Tom, and we've got Ryan. So I'm going to just quickly ask you, how's your last week been since the last Friday Night Social? So I'll start with you, Chris.
Yeah, not a bad week really. Country seems to have gone a bit mental this week, so yeah, we'll see. But yeah, personally, everything's fine.
Super. Martin?
Really good week, productive. Not looking forward to next week, but you got to get on with it.
Why next week? You're back at work?
I'm back full time next week.
So you should be.
Absolutely. Getting back to work. That's what we like to see. Karl in Washington. How's things over there, buddy?
Where do I start from, Andy?
Well, I know we've seen. I've certainly been following the Floyd case.
Yeah,
not good at all. Watching those images, it was horrendous.
Yeah, I went from being ecstatic about SpaceX, the launch, post-launch last week, to the Floyd case. We have to solve this problem together. It's not about black or white. This is just about decency and human kindness. And there are many police officers who are great. I have friends who are police officers, white, great people, right? And there are people who are evil. And we just need to get these guys out. And there's no reason why anyone should kill a person by stepping on their neck with a knee. It's just. So we have to solve it collectively. We'll see. So that's been my week, man.
Yeah, I must admit it was a difficult watch, and I was watching the 5.5 minute video of it, and even 2 minutes in, I'm thinking, just get off his neck. You've already got him pinned to the ground, and he's handcuffed. Just take your knee off his neck, and people are shouting he's bleeding from the nose, and it's horrendous. And then what we've seen, obviously, over there is. Lots of looting and rioting, and then your president comes out saying, you start looting, we start shooting, and you just start thinking, oh, Jesus Christ.
How to make things worse.
You look at that and you just think, how is that helping the situation?
Well, you know what they say about, was it an old Roman philosopher who said that whom the gods want to destroy, the first turn mad? I think this is what's happening. It's not sustainable. We'll see in 4 or 5 months' time. We'll see what happens, but pray for us, frankly, at this point in time.
Yeah,
that's what you guys can do.
Well, you've got your T-shirt on tonight, it says everything we need to know. So, Alan, over in Melbourne, how's your week been, mate?
Busy. I've been back in the office for the first time properly all week.
Oh, really?
I've been travelling into the city. They've actually, the pubs are open next week, restaurants are opening next week. But only 20 people in, and you have to have food in the pubs, which makes it a bit more difficult. Yeah. So that.
Well, I was copied in on an email from your supporters club that was talking about the fact of the time of the matches might mean that you'd have to try and get a chef in at a certain hour.
Melbourne supporters press. Just if anyone's watching and not seen that email, the games will not be shown in the Imperial. One, because of the time, and two, they have to get a chef in, and that's putting a risk on the landlord at the Imperial if you did that. So you're going to have to watch the games on Optus TV, or however normal you would watch it in Australia. So I've been work. That's caused a few issues because Dan Andrews, the Premier, has been kicking off this week. That I was on the tram for 2 days, and there was only 3 people on the tram. And anyone that's been on my Facebook page, you'll have seen the picture of the empty tram in the morning in rush hour. And everyone's been driving, which is obviously the roads have been heaving because of that. And the Premier has actually said if people can work from home, you've still got to work from home till July. And so basically he's been sending police and security people from the council into offices to check that office is not full. And one of my mates was in an office where they got 40 odd people in and they were sent home immediately.
Really?
And they were fined.
Wow.
Everyone of them were fined. So See, Daniel Andrews is Labour and Scott Morrison is Conservative, and it's down to the state premiers what they do, what their rules they have, you see, rather than the whole government, as might say. So that came out yesterday that he's sending people around people's offices and checking that people are not working from the offices and should be working from home. Because let's face it, you work in the city, you work on a laptop. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I must admit, I've been out today, and my wife rarely has been out under lockdown, but she went out today because she had to pick up my father-in-law's prescription from Chester, and we both came back at different times and both said the same thing, that the roads were packed. I've never seen so many people on the roads where normally it's quiet, and I live in a rural area, and it was busy, really busy. So, and we're not out of that stage yet. So God knows what it's going to be like come Monday. But anyway, Tom, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay. It's been sort of the same week. Sad to see the scenes in America. I have quite a lot of family who live over there, so it was sad to see. Just hope that everything gets sorted out, really, and there's justice as well. So yeah, just sort of the same for me, really, following on from what Karl said as well.
Super. Ryan, going to bring you in, mate.
Just been doing the same, really. Same old. My sleep schedule has been completely ruined. So I won't be going to sleep after this, as I woke up at 5 in the afternoon today after going to sleep at 11 this morning.
We know that.
Yeah. My sleep schedule has mostly been around go to sleep around 6, get up around lunchtime or 1, something like that. So I'm going to try and fix that by just not going to sleep. But other than that, just watching a lot of football. So obviously, as I said in the Golden Question last week, with my Köln game against Tom's Dusseldorf.
Yeah, that was 2-2, wasn't it?
By far the worst performance under our new manager since he came in. And we came back from 2-0 down. We actually started playing on 80 minutes. And 87th minute, 92nd minute, equaliser, scenes. I got told off by the mother for being too loud.
There you go. Well, it was 2-2. So, Ryan, just before we move on, bit of interference on your headphones or something there, mate. It's given us a bit of a buzzing feedback. So maybe if you can unplug and plug them back in or something like that, that'd be great. Right, okay. So we're going to bring in Martin. And what we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, we're going to talk about, the Premier League restart and the FA Cup restart. Now, when all this came in, Martin, you saw the poll, didn't you? I'll just bring you in now. You saw the poll last night.
Yeah.
You commented on the poll?
Yeah.
Karl, I saw you certainly.
I know I voted on it.
You voted on it, Karl. I saw you. Yeah. But anyway, what you'll see now is I will bring this up on the screen. And yesterday, I gave it sort of 23 hours, and I put genuine question in all of the Premier League teams, with the exception of one, because we didn't want to have the poll hijacked, which we know what their answer would be. And the question was, will you watch football behind closed doors on TV? Well, the final result with hundreds of votes came through. There were 4 answers. The first one was hell yes. The second one was no way. The third one was I'll probably relent. And the fourth one was yes, but I'll feel dirty. Well, as it comes out, I was really surprised. It was very, very close. Hell yes was 24%. No way was 23%. I'll probably relent was 24%. And the winner was yes, but I'll feel dirty at 29%. So I was quite surprised, because I really thought it would have been more towards one way or the other, but it was pretty close, which goes to show you that people are still really undecided. And what I'm going to do on the back of that is I'm going to show you also a couple of tweets that came out, and from the poll originally, and then some people commenting about it. And there was one called Desi the Blue, and he said, followed City home and away all my life, and this morning the penny finally dropped. Games behind closed doors, no consultation with football fans, shows the game's gone from supporters to the money men. I am honestly thinking of not renewing my season ticket. Anyone thinking the same? Which I thought, wow. And this is a big blue. And then somebody called MCFC Centurions and Quadruples said, agree, however, the footy has always been secondary to getting out with my mates, a few scoops and forgetting about the world for a few hours. In the bad old days, how many times did football ruin a good day? Good day out, stick with it, boss. To a reply by Duffster69 said, I'm sacking my 2 season tickets. Like most, I think VAR has killed the game, but if the Premier League want to choose money over fans, they are more than welcome, but it won't be my money they have. Johnny Wilds said, yep, VAR was the first nail for me, killing the entertainment, and now this just proves it's all about revenue and not the fans. Many will be having second thoughts. Somebody called Andy Sutt 12. Andy Sutcliffe said, I've already decided not to renew my 3 season cards. Robbo for MCFC says, that's the only one. That's the only difficult question for me. I take my eldest lad, who is now 11, who's been a season ticket holder for 3 years, and I put my second lad down for a season ticket. And Andy replied back saying, I'm 55, I've done my bit and more. The VAR made me think about it. This playing behind closed doors has made my mind up. To which Chris Harrison, which is CJ Has 69, said, I'm the same, getting my refund and calling it a day. 34 years I've had my ticket, but enough is enough.
I think you're going to get a lot more of that.
Well, I'll bring you in there then. So what are you saying there, Alan?
Well,
I'll bring you all in. I'll move me out and I'll bring you all in.
Yeah.
So there you go. So go on.
To be honest with you, I've been looking at the stats for Corona in the UK over the last 6 days. Okay, and it's gone up every day. It's fluctuated on one day, but it's gone up every single day. We've now got 2,095 cases, which is gone up by 420 in the last 6 days, and it's now gone up to 324 deaths, that has gone up from 100 and odd back to 300. So the UK is not in control of what's going on. And I saw what happened in Manchester on Bank Holiday Monday, when they're all partying in the square, drinking and carrying on. And we could all whinge at the politicians for saying this, that, and the other. But the people have also got to do their bit as well. And they're not. They're still hanging around outside in nice weather. And I just think that Richard Masters of the Premier League, he's leaving himself wide open and the Premier League wide open. Because if something happens to somebody and they pass away, they're up for manslaughter charges. I think it's a disgrace. I really do.
Okay. I'm going to come to you, Chris.
Yeah. Well, I'm not excited about it returning. It feels, I don't know, it just feels wrong and totally inappropriate at this moment. I think Alan's right there about, things aren't going down at the minute. We're sort of leveling off, if not creeping back up again. And there was I saw a tweet earlier about that in London there'd been a little bit of a rise in hospital admissions as well. For whatever reasons we're in the situation we are, I don't think it is appropriate for football to return just yet. I'll watch the City games, but to be honest with you, Andy, when I was 20-something years old, I would have watched Clyde against Arbroath, But over the years, I only watch City games now anyway. I don't watch Match of the Day. It's just about City really for me these days. So that I will watch it. I don't think it's right, and I can understand why people have got very strong feelings about it.
Okay, Karl.
Yeah, game's gone, gentlemen. Game's gone. And I'm one of the newer fans, so maybe my roots are not as deep as you guys experiences. And I followed it as a kid, but mainly European football because we didn't have access to the Premier League as such as we have today. But the game's gone. I mean, the passion, the vision, the involvement of the fans, the way money has driven the wedge between the fans and the game is irrecoverable to me. I will watch all the City games. I tweeted the other day, I said that I hope that all the media hacks who are calling for the return of the Premier League are as enthusiastic about the return of the FA Cup and even the Champions League if we make it through. Because I guarantee you this, Andy, that once it starts and then their darling club has achieved their objective, don't be surprised if they say, oh, let's stop right now. It's over because we have rising cases. Which then says, okay, FA Cup, sorry, you're done. Champions League, sorry, you're done. It will not surprise me. That's what they do.
Spot on.
I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I'm only going to watch City games, and that's it.
Yeah, a number of people have said exactly that same thing, Karl, on Twitter, and said, you know, what's the odds that Liverpool win their next two games, and then suddenly there's a few people get it and go, oh no, we can't take the risk anymore. That's it. Everything's called off here. But Liverpool have got enough points now to win the league. Martin?
I'm very much like you. I'm going to watch it. Not going to enjoy it, but I'm going to watch it. Simply. I
don't know whether you're quite like me.
Well, no,
I've not given you my thoughts on it yet.
No,
but,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everyone else so far. Yeah. In terms of, obviously, I know your vote of Pew, and I know where you're going with it.
Yeah.
A lot of work for me in the next few weeks.
No. Maybe not.
I'm only joking. No, I understand, but for me, in a way, I mean, I don't want to make this political. Yes, I agree, but with Boris's message yesterday, we are starting to go back to normal now. That's where we're going with it. From Monday, we're opening back up as a country. Schools are going back open. I promise you, within the next 2 or 3 weeks, there'll be more year groups back. Cinemas are arranging to reopen. Everything is starting to go again. There's even rumours now this 2 metre distance is going to be shortened down.
That's silly.
Well, that's where we're at because of the R rate. The R rate is under 1, so they're going with it. That's where they're going with it, and that's the way Boris is going to. He's solely looking at the R rate, unfortunately. You know, now they're talking about local lockdowns in high-risk areas for flare-ups, even though apparently that's going to be governed by the local health authorities.
I don't know how you possibly.
I don't know how they're going to do that.
Clueless.
I mean, I'll be honest. Jesus. The area I live in is one of the highest-rated areas in the country for cases compared to ratios. It's one of the highest. It's in the top. It was number 1. It's now in the top 3 or 4. But we're all going back Monday, and we've got to go back the best we can, smile on our face. And with football, the way I'm viewing it is, I'm not going to enjoy it like I probably would. I'm not going to give up my season ticket because I wouldn't give up on City in any circumstance. I just can't do it.
Yeah,
I'm not built that way. I can't do it. You know, it's just not me. You know, I was the one who was sat watching Mansfield with 3,000 people there. You know.
Yeah, no, but I know, but there are people who have done exactly that and for longer than you've been supporting City, and had season tickets longer than you've had season tickets. Probably one of the things I read out earlier, they'd had a season ticket almost your age, and have been following City home and away and everything. But I mean, they're thinking about giving up or are going to give up their 34-year season ticket.
I agree with that. Are they going to give up on the whole country as a whole on Monday when we open back up then?
Well, I mean, it's their decision, isn't it? I mean, it's their decision, isn't it? I mean, you know,
football to just be a target. That's my point. We can't target football.
But it's not a target. I mean, that's just their own personal choice on the thing. It's not about whether it's right, wrong, or whatever.
Everyone's opening.
But we're not talking about politics. We're talking about football, and we're talking about the fact that there are City fans who've been following City and had season tickets longer than you've had a season ticket, or near enough you've been born. And they're thinking of giving up their season tickets. By the statements and comments made, they are gonna not renew their 3 season tickets next season.
That might be do you think that might be financed though, down to finance and being able to afford tickets? They've had a hard time financially, and like we discussed last week, I honestly think a lot of fans not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know because that wasn't brought up, but the comments in there never said anything about affordability or anything like that. It was the fact of the VAR started this, and now everything that's the way the Premier League and things like that have been dealing with this lockdown and the way that they've started this behind closed doors and not giving anything for the fans. It's like the straw that broke the camel's back and just decided enough is enough. It's VAR was bad enough, and now I'm just fed up of it. This is it, and I don't know. As a younger fan, Tom,
I was happy to hear the news that it was going to come back because it means we're taking a step forward in the right place. It says we're going somewhere close to more like a reality as it was before. Obviously, that's going to take a long time, but yeah, I'm happy that it's coming back. Something to keep the nation going, something to keep everybody entertained. I'll be watching all the City games. I'll watch the odd big game. If there's a big game coming up like the Merseyside derby, I might watch that. But apart from that, I won't be watching any of the not really no games that are interested to me. The ones that are in the lower leagues, like relegation battle and stuff. Not really interested. So it'll be just City and some of the big games from the Big Six.
It's interesting you use those comments. I know this is not a slight on you, but you use that it's all about entertainment. And when I hear that word, I always think what people being put in an impossible position in their workplace and potentially catching COVID is what entertainment for the masses. It goes back to the Colosseum and Rome and things like that. I mean, it seems that's for me. It's all about entertainment for the masses to get it back on when you've got players that, even though they're being tested, and testing, as we know, is not 100% foolproof, are still potentially going to go back to their families. And as it stands at the moment, because they're not being locked away in hotels for 4 weeks, which was the original idea, are potentially going back and trying to do their job in an environment that they will be in contact with people and lots of people, and testing is not going to stop this. Testing is only going to potentially identify if somebody has got it, and with the time frames between testing and the results, yet some football fans, like, I'm not saying you, but it's entertainment. We want entertainment back, and these are people who are going to put their lives at risk and their families' lives at risks, yet nobody else in the population, in the job workforce, except for nurses and doctors who have full PPE, if you believe that, every day, every minute of their working lives, but footballers don't. It's interesting. Ryan?
Well, I replied to your post yesterday saying that I'll be watching all the games from the Premier League. I'll be watching pretty much all the games if I can, from City down to Norwich, Bournemouth to Chelsea, whatever. I've watched probably half the Bundesliga games that have been on. So I watched I think I watched 5 games of the midweek fixtures, another 6 at the weekend, 6 the weekend before that, something like that. So I've just been, but that obviously their setup is a bit different because they're having a lot of games on at the same time, whereas I think the Premier League have set out these time slots, so you'd be able to essentially watch every single game if you chose to. And I mean, as long as I'm free, which I probably will be, then I'll be watching all the games.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next part of this, which is obviously the Premier League. They've announced restarts on the 17th of June. We've got the 29th games are going to be the first 2, which is ironic. They're going to make sure they get those two in, because once everybody is level on 29 games, that's the only time they could potentially go to the points per game system. So it's interesting that they've got those two games in first, which is City versus Arsenal and Villa. I can't remember who Villa are playing. Somebody. Sheffield United. So they're going to be the first two games. They've said that they want to finish by the 26th of July. The FA Cup restarts quarterfinals on the 27th and 28th of June. The semi-finals have been scheduled for the 18th and 19th of July, with the final being on the 1st of August. Now, there's going to be 92 Premier League games if we get that far. Sky Sports have got 64 of those. 25 of those are going to be free to air. BT Sport has got 20 of them. Amazon Prime have got 4, and BBC, amazing. Suddenly BBC can, show 4 games for free. I mean, that's how they got that one. I have no idea. If you are not a Sky Sports BT subscriber, etc., they're saying that if you want to watch all the games, it's going to cost you £117.98. Surprise, surprise. So when we thought about it's going to be free to watch all these games, so no, it isn't going to be free. It's going to cost you. You can get different packages for a month or 2 months, but if you aren't already a subscriber and you want to watch those games, so it's not going to be free to air like everybody thought it was going to be. It's going to cost you £117.98 to watch those games. So, Karl, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know why you guys allow this. So in the US, we get most of the games free to air on NBC, on cable. So you have a cable subscription. So you have a Sky package that you, for all your channels, Sky, CNN, whatever it is, it's part of it. Now, if you want to watch multiple games at the same time, sometimes they show them on 2 different channels, but if you want to watch all the games at the same time, you can go to NBC Sports Gold, and for $45 for the whole year, which is about £30.
The whole year?
For the whole year, NBC Gold, you get everything. You get all the games. You can watch all the games. You also get all the interviews. You get everything for about £30.
I pay that
on Championship Sunday
per month.
Right. Then on Championship Sunday, right, all 10 games are on 10 channels simultaneously. So you can flip around if you want. So I don't understand why they're charging you £117 for the next 92 games or so, which is about $190 or so. For what?
Because of the £5.4 billion that the Premier League gets from and gives into the Premier League clubs and things like that. They're going to try and get the money back. I think I read somewhere this morning, and I can't be exact on the figures, so if I'm wrong on the exact figures, I apologise, but it was something like the top Premier League clubs are going to pay back the shortfall of around about £330 million in the rebate to the TV companies. So if you take 10 teams, that's 33 million. Each team is going to lose out. If you take 20 teams, it's going to be £16.5 million each. If you're talking about the 20 Premier League teams are going to lose out to pay back the rebate. Why the hell are the Premier League not paying that back? Why it's their product. Right, I'll bring in Alan. Alan?
We have Optus over here, which basically streams all the BT sports stuff from the UK, right? So you can watch every single game live at will when you want, a bit like the Champions League when you're at home.
Is that legal? It's not like the Saudi one, is it?
No, that's legal. That's legal. You have a box under the TV, small little. Yeah, no,
I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
It costs us $14.99 per month, and that's it. $14.99 per month.
And what do you see for that?
You get the Premier League every game.
Every game.
Cup, every game. League Cup. The FA Cup's on Foxtel, but you can still get it through that way. You get the Champions League, the Europa League, and all international football. Okay, so you even get the Bundesliga on there as well. Okay, so basically, every single football, $14.99 per month, which is £7 per month. About.
So my point in this is, and I'll come back to the others in a minute, is can you now understand why the football fan in the UK, let's say the Man City fan who invests in season tickets and goes home and away, travel, blah 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 to support their team, and then they've got to, because it's not on Sky, and if they haven't got Sky, they've got to purchase these bulk packages, which if they want to watch all the games, it's £117.98. If not, they'll pick and choose the games, blah blah blah. And yet you're in Melbourne and you've got a season card, but you're in Melbourne and Karl's in Washington, and you're paying $14.99 to see every single game, and yet $14.99 you wouldn't even you'd have to pay 3-4 times that just to get one ticket for a game.
I've been here 13 years. I've not missed a City game in that 13 years, not one, right? And not just that, I see more football here than I did in the UK because of the way
of course you will. Yeah,
and it's unbelievable. So I don't miss City guys. I get up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, of course.
Which is hard. But I look at the deal that they've got. They had a big kerfuffle here when it changed from Foxtel, which is basically Sky, right, to Optus. There was a massive. Everyone was refusing to pay for subscription for that and swapping, saying, "Well, what's the point in having Foxtel? We only watch it for Man City or football or whatever it may be, because you've got cricket on Foxtel and the Rugby League and the AFL on Foxtel, and then the Premier League and Bundesliga and everything else on Optus. So you basically have to pay two there for the sport there as well, and Foxtel's expensive. So with regards to that, I'll come to you 1 second, Karl. I will bring you in now, but I'll come to you 1 second. Just on the Foxtel stuff, has there been any sort of reduction in your subscription because there's no football or anything? Well, the Foxtel stuff, no, because they don't have any soccer on it on the TV now at all. But there's no AFL, there's no Rugby League. And that starts mid-June, like the Premier League does. So they've reduced it down. I think the package was $52 for sport. Okay, that's been knocked down by more than half. But the rest.
So basically, what you're paying this minimal amount of money to see every single Premier League game, and they're reducing this package down, and this is both of you. Like they have done in the UK. I mean, fair enough with Sky Sports, but like I said, I pay £93 a month for my Sky. Well, that's everything. But I get my BT through my broadband. I get the BT Sports. But you know, if I was paying for that, it's £15 just for BT, and if I was paying this, it's just. And yet we're getting the same sort of rebate. Yet you're getting, for this small package. In the US and Australia, you're getting this for this tiny little package. You're getting every single Premier League game going, everything,
and every cup competition as well.
Everything.
I'll tell you a funny story. When I got offered a job over here in recruitment, I rang up Foxtel from England, from where I was living in Bury, and I asked them, said, "Have you got the Premier League?" "Yes, we have." "Do you see every single game, no matter what time? FA Cup, Premier League. I can watch every single month." "Yes, yes, you can." On that basis, I accepted the job. If they had said no, I would have stayed in England. And that is the truth.
Really?
Yeah, that's the truth.
Wow, Karl.
Yeah, and if I may just add to what Alan said. So here in the US, when you get to half the season, what NBC does, it tells you, instead of paying $42 for the year, we reduce it now to $29 for the year. So now, if you come in late, you get a discount, right?
Yeah.
So in order for me to watch the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, Champions League, and the Premier League, it cost me in a year probably about $80 in total because of different subscribers. But here's the key. The key is that there's a proven model for Amazon and Facebook to blow out Sky, BT, and all these folks, because it's proven in Australia. It's proven in the US that for a minimum subscription to the customer, if they can subscribe to these games for nominal fee, and blow out these subscribers and still give the Premier League even more money. So unless Sky and BT change,
I'll come to you, Tom.
It is inevitable that at some point this model is going to die.
Well, we discussed this, I think, the week before last, didn't we? We talked about the model of things like that. Tom, what did you want to say, mate?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so Karl, so for the whole thing, $80, did you say? Yeah, $80. So what's that in about English in England money wise? $80.
That's about £60.
60
and by the way, I also watched the Championship too and League One games.
Yeah. So
Championship, League One games.
Wow.
FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Champions League, Premier League.
We get the Championship as well.
So Sky, Now TV do this Sky Sports Day Pass. I don't know if you're aware of it, and it's $9.99. It's $9.99 for 1 day. So technically, and that's just Sky Sports, So you can get everything for an equivalent of 6 days watching Sky Sports. So it just shows you the difference in the prices. And that's just Sky Sports. You think about Amazon have got the money to have to do the Amazon, and now you've got your BT, and who knows what else is going to take it. Apple TV are looking to invest in some games. It's getting ridiculous, really.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how the BBC have suddenly got 4 free-to-air. I find that amazing. But anyway, Chris.
Yeah, it was rip off Britain. It has been for years and years, isn't it? And it's our national game. They've got us by the balls. You know, you pay it or you don't watch it. And that's the way we're treated in this country. That's how sports fans have been treated for, well, pretty much since Sky got involved. I got rid of Sky about 8 years ago because I don't want to be putting money in Murdoch's pocket, basically. I know it's a tiny little amount, but disgusting the way British sports fans, not football fans here, just sports fans in general, are treated by, Sky. And I think for the smaller sports, football will survive, but I think for the smaller sports, Sky's been, boxing, you don't get to see boxing as, you have to pay extra to watch boxing. If you want to watch a championship fight, you're looking, what is it? I don't know how much it is now. Is it 20 quid or something like that?
It's on the box office. So BT normally charge about 30 quid and Sky normally charge about 25.
So,
that's just for a single fight.
Yeah. And so you got people over here who aren't getting to watch the Marvin Haglers and the people like that we got to see for nothing, who are, are great sportsmen. You don't get to see Ian Botham on BBC One, smacking the Aussies around. That doesn't happen. And these small sports now struggle, and it's a real, I really hate it, mate. It's something that I find really detestable because there is the haves and the have-nots in this country. And I think we're probably the worst for this. How people can be expected to be paying that kind of amount when there's a lot of the workforce are furloughed. Just typical of this country that we will just take the mick out of the population, It's disgusting. Like you said, initially they were saying about these games would be free for everyone to watch to lift morale, They don't care about morale.
Which hence led me back to the original question. I'm going to come to Martin, which was the fact of why I read out those at the beginning of the question was now when I said to Tom earlier, and like I said, no disrespect to Tom was talking about entertainment and things, but you imagine somebody who's invested 34 years of their life as a season card holder and have seen all the bollocks of VAR and everything else. Now all of a sudden not seeing any games not seeing any games because they won't allow fans in, but they can restrict they can have social distancing, out in the general population, but they can't do it in a football stadium. Even if it's a ballot or whatever else, they can't do that. And now suddenly they're saying, oh no, it's not actually free to air. There's only going to be so many. And if you want to watch your team, if you've not got Sky or a BT or whatever, and you can guarantee BBC won't be having Man City versus Liverpool or anything like that. It's already been said the games that are going to be on Sky for subscriptions, or the people who've got subscriptions, are going to be the big games, like the Liverpool-Everton derby. That's going to be on Sky for the subscribers, not the free-to-air ones. The 25 free-to-air ones will be all the crappy games that nobody's really interested in. So, Martin, what are your thoughts on it?
Totally agree with what every single person said. Problem is you've got, like Tom said, 30 quid for a box office. people pay it.
Yeah.
It's like these people giving up the season tickets. Great, and I admire them. The problem is there's another 100, 200, 300 people behind them to come and pick up their season ticket.
Oh yeah. There will be.
The road did this with the Glazers. We're not going. We're doing this big stand. We're going to go make FC United and everything else. Great admiration, great stand. United still sell out.
Yeah, but I mean, the decision is a morality one, and I don't think the people who are going to say, well, that's it, I'm not going next season, I'm not renewing my 3 season tickets, are going to go, oh, well, that'll be 3 empty seats next season that won't be there. They're realistic and know that there's hundreds and thousands of people that will fill it. It's from a moralistic point of view that they're going. I am in the moralistic point of view that I'm going to make a stand and say I'm not doing it. And if you don't get those type of individuals, then you don't get change. You don't get a change in these things.
I totally agree with you.
I admire them people.
Yeah, I totally admire it. I do. But my point is coming back to like the amount of what Karl gets charged in America, what Alan gets in Australia. We're the idiots because we pay it. We still do it. That's the problem. So we can bitch, moan, and complain all day long about it. Yeah. We're still going to rock out and do it next week. Yeah. That's the problem. Until we go, we ain't doing it. It's like, who was the old philosopher who said, don't just keep saying it, do it. You need to do. You can't just keep moaning about it. Do something.
Anybody know that old philosopher?
His name.
How old was he? 50, 60, 600? Was it the
how old are you, BC? How old are you?
It does sound like Socrates to me.
No, it might have been Socrates, Plato.
What, the centre back at Arsenal?
That's your homework tonight. Look up who said that one.
That's the problem.
He said, if you don't give up your season ticket this season, then you're just going to join the rest of the other people. Look up who said that.
It's true. We can have all this separation all we want and go, yeah, it's brilliant. The trouble is, we don't do jack about it. We just carry on doing it like robots.
Yeah, but the thing is that's my point. Is these people are actually going. Enough is enough. Now I can imagine. You imagine 34 years you've been following a club.
Yeah.
Home and away. Take your kids. Imagine taking your kids and they've got a season ticket for your kid who's 11, and going. If I give up, well, I have to give up because he gives up.
So what's he going to do?
Well, I mean...
Go shopping with the missus. I can't see that happening.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. When I emigrated over here, even though I could see the City games, the biggest thing that I missed about home is going to the match with my mates. Home, and especially away.
Yeah.
Which is... trust me, it's massive. When I saw you at the Brighton game at home, Spurs away, and I saw you at the games. Trust me, going to the pub beforehand and having a few beers, having a full English breakfast, and going down, drinks, and going down to the match, win or lose, that is the number one thing I miss every single week, and it's hard. Trust me, it's hard. And I had a season ticket since I was 12 years of age at Main Road.
Yeah,
and it is really. I can't see people doing it. They might say it, but doing it is another matter.
Well, I guess we'll see. Maybe it is a bit of rhetoric. Maybe it is just people pissed off and annoyed and everything else. Ryan, just before I move on, I'm just going to let Ryan come in. Ryan, what are your thoughts on the whole sort of TV games and whatever?
Well, I think on the point of the morale thing, boosting the morale of the nation, I think I said that it was a load of crap when they first said that, when that was one of the first narratives they went with. I mean, that'll ruin my mum's summer if that's on free-to-view TV. It's almost as if she can't go to Bulgaria anymore. Now they're putting football on. It's like just way to ruin her summer. At least they haven't got Wimbledon, so she can't complain at that being on every single TV station to do with the BBC.
And they got the Euros next year as well. So there we go. She's had 2 years of it.
But so I've never had Sky. No one in my family's ever had Sky, but my uncle uses BT. So he's got BT Sport, and I think he's been saying for like the past 3 years he's gonna cancel the BT Sport because he doesn't really use it, and he still hasn't got round to it. So it's now more just a running comment from my grandma that that's just a year-long Christmas present for me because, but I think he's been paid back for the last 2 months of his subscription because I've had no sport on. Which I mean, I've been watching wrestling 3 times a week in all the Bundesliga, so I mean, I've been using it regardless for sport. But so he's been getting some money back from that. But I think that comes to around 120, 130 pounds a year for just the BT Sport specifically. I don't really know. People will watch it anywhere, regardless of the price, in my opinion. And even people that don't want to pay that, like you can see on Twitter how many people, myself included, watch games at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like even though there's a ban in the UK on it, like everyone, a lot of people, most of the people on Twitter at least that I'm following, you'll see them, myself included, tweeting about games like that are on Sky, and they might not have Sky 3 o'clock.
Obviously, I get the feeling it's a real age group of individuals that watch these games. Like you and Tom seem to follow the Bundesliga religiously, and you watch these 3 o'clock games and things like that. I don't know. And maybe because I'm older and I've got family and everything.
I think that was the point that Chris made as well.
I've got other things to do, and the last thing I'm thinking about is watching some 3 o'clock kickoff online.
That was a point that Chris made.
On a dodgy stream.
Because he said that back in the day he'd be watching, Clyde versus whoever, or 4-5 playing someone.
Clyde.
It's like.
I don't know. Was he Clint Eastwood's orangutan?
Exactly. But he just doesn't do that anymore.
That's
really.
a bit of blue.
I think it is. I think it is more of a younger people are more interested in the wider sport, and especially with technology now. Yeah. There's so many dodgy streams on the internet.
Yeah.
That's how I end up usually. I think. For a lot of the Premier League this season, I've probably watched more of it on NBC than I have on Sky.
Yeah. And I use VPN.
So,
I mean, this is the thing. But I mean, I don't think it's just about just being able to access. I mean, I do think the technology is one element that older people potentially are not as au fait with some of the streaming sites and technology. But I do think the younger generation, maybe because of things like FIFA and others, are more involved with, different. I'll come to you, Tom, 1 second. Are involved in, different players from different leagues and things like that. So follow the leagues because they might be I don't know.
I think gaming definitely has a big part to play with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it really, really does have a massive part, which then gets you. Oh, I've got this player in my FIFA team. I'll go and watch this particular team in the Bundesliga or in Italy or Serie A or La Liga or wherever it may be. And I don't think the older generation are as that.
That's how I got into watching FC Köln. That's how I got into watching Köln. That's from I think like a FIFA 10 career mode on the Wii. That's how I've got into watching Köln. Really.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Tom. You want to say something then?
I was just going to say, if you'd have asked me this question this time last year, I'd have probably agree with the majority of you guys. I never really watched any games, but because of injuries and stuff that I've had, I haven't obviously been able to do a lot of sport. So obviously the football from all over the world has come into a good part of keeping me sane. And I would have been with you guys. Like, I've never watched a 3 o'clock game because I'm always at City. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now I've been obviously not being able to do as much. I've been able to watch the more games. So if you asked me this time last year, I'd have probably agreed with you guys, but it just shows how different impacts prove to how much you watch and how much you don't, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute fair point. Well, just to sort of wrap up last few things for part one of the Friday Night Social. Well, City have sent out an email today to say that sort of season, if you're a citizen card holder, things like that, that will be extended by 3 months. So you won't be paying on the 1st of June. They'll extend that until the 1st of September on there. And it was interesting going back to the Premier League, which we talked about, the FA Cup and dates and the Premier League stuff, that Richard Masters, the CEO of the Premier League, made a comment that was quite enlightening, which was Premier League with fans could return to normality in 2021, which suggests there is definitely going to be no fans at stadia in the UK for 2020, which means another 6 months without fans in stadiums in the UK for certain. And that was a could return in 2021. So they've said they want to start the season in September, the 2021 season in September, which means you potentially could have at least 3 months with no fans in stadiums. So, Martin, you said
which is basically safe for the players, but not safe for the fans. When players are tackling each other and pushing each other, blah blah blah. So, what's the difference between footballers and normal human beings?
That's a question I asked 3 months ago.
Rich is a fool.
It's probably that it's easier to test a smaller amount of players and test a big bunch of people coming into a stadium, really.
Well, I mean,
but even if you segregated like the people out in the stadiums into like sections, then I think it would be. I don't think you'll come straight back to. I don't think it'll just go from no fans to then 50,000 seater stadiums being packed every week. I think it'll be a slow process throughout next season of slowly letting in more and more people, and then probably start 2021-22 season it gets back to normal.
Well, the question
you'd have to just limit tickets.
We should be all right because we never fill our ground anyway, so we should be okay. You know, we might be one of the first.
We'll get that one. We'll get that.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
Hold on. Okay. Right. Martin. Go on, Martin.
No, I'm going to, like I said, I'm not fully confident on that statement by Richard Masters.
Why not?
Because I think the rate this country is moving and the way everything is changing so quick, that's why I don't have, because let's put it on, mate, where I work, there's going to be, with everyone in, you're looking over 1,000 people. By September, we'll have everyone back. And you can't social distance over 1,000 people.
Okay, so I'll say to you, do you think that everyone is going to be able to fly in an aeroplane by November 2020? And that means sitting next to everybody.
Do you want me to be honest? I'm meant to be going away in July, and I think I'll be
No. I asked you the question. Do you
think... I've just said July, so November, yeah.
So you're going to be sat on an aeroplane next to two other people with no protection or anything like that. You think that's going to happen? Without any restrictions, just go back to flying as normal before.
No, restrictions. Yeah, I think there'll be restrictions.
which is hence why he said Premier League with fans could return to normality in 2021.
Well, I don't understand how you're going to do it other ways.
Which is what he said was Premier League with fans could return to normality in 2021, which means going back to how it's always been, 50,000 in a stadium. He never said fans in stadiums. Now, the next stage of that is how are they going to introduce fans? And I heard somebody on Twitter today, I read, saying, well, I think the only fairest way is the people who paid the most money for season tickets are the ones that, if they do segregated areas, should be the ones that get in. Now, I don't know where that goes. But anyway, Karl?
So Andy, so Masters is the new Premier League chief, right? He took over from Scudamore, correct? This is a failure of leadership. I mean, think about this, right? You're talking about fans in 2021. You're not sure. You haven't even started the current season yet. You're talking,
which is why he said fans could return.
But he shouldn't even be talking. In my opinion, he shouldn't even be talking about that at this point in time. Let's see how this rolls.
I agree.
Let's see how this rolls through July, June, and August. See where we are, and then you can make a decision when fans can come back and what we've learned from the process. But when you start to invoke the future to today without clarity, it causes confusion.
Yeah,
which is what we're debating now. It's
I'm totally with you on that. I wanted to throw it out there to you guys to think.
Yeah.
What do you think of that particular statement? Because for me, it's suggesting that we will not be back to normality in 2020, where we all can go to a stadium and watch football like we've been used to. The future where we could is going to be 2021 and beyond, which means now we're just about to hit June. We have got 6 more months where fans cannot go back to a stadium again as we used to. Now, there might be steps in that where they might allow 5,000 people in, and they are segregated throughout the whole stadium, and that will have to be managed. Just like Martin said, well, he's going on a holiday and he could be blah, blah, blah. They're going to have to be restrictions to manage that type of thing. But with that comment from the chief, the CEO of the Premier League, 1 minute, the CEO of the Premier League saying Premier League, this is in quotation, so I'm not taking him out of context here. Premier League with fans could return to normality in 2021, which says it's not going to return to normality in 2020. That's for certain.
Right.
But it could in 2021. So we got 6 months of where none of us could go as normal fans to go and watch our teams.
Well, Andy, it could be December 2021, right? It could be more than a year. So again,
it could be.
But let's assume that it's January 2021, right? Let's say we have 6 months of no fans. So based on what the Premier League wants to do, where they put games like Everton versus Liverpool or City versus Liverpool in neutral grounds, is that going to happen when we start the season in September? What's the impact on the integrity of the game? Right?
Yeah. I mean, this is the whole next debate. Is we're only talking about these things now about how do we finish this season. If we're talking about no fans or a certain element of fans in a stadium for the start of the 2021 season, which they want to do by September and start that, what are the dynamics of that? Right. If it's either nobody goes in the stadium and we'll manage it like we did for the end of the 2019-20 season, and we'll manage it the same way, neutral stadia, or we'll, police in your own stadia, we'll do that. But if they start introducing, well, we can have 5,000 fans in the stadium, how do you choose those fans if that does come into place? And how the bloody hell do you manage the 5,000 fans that are turning up at a stadium that have been selected out of the ones who are going to turn up trying to jib in? Because let's face it, how many ticket touts do we see outside the Etihad or any stadiums, turning up? And I mean, it's just an absolute nightmare. Chris?
Yeah, I saw an article this week that the Oval was looking at reducing to 6,000 capacity for the summer tests. So, and that's a big ground now with the Oval. I think it holds 50-odd thousand, doesn't it? So they've obviously got a way of doing it. I think what we're about to go through in this country now is could send things completely backwards. And I don't think that anyone like Master should be coming out yet without, let's see where we're going. These are really, everyone says it, unprecedented times. But for me personally, mate, I won't be returning to watch City until there's, I can't return to watch or go to a gig, go and watch cricket, rugby, anything. I can't because of my own position. So I'm kind of worried about this, because that'll be going against, what's normal for me. Things that I like to do in my spare time now are sort of being taken away from me. And that is rightly so as well, because, I don't want, to bring it home. So, but I won't be buying Sky, mate. And I think people need to take a stand against these big corporations, and if Amazon come in and save the day, great. But no, I think this is the new reality, isn't it? Until we get a hold on either getting this infection rate properly down, or there's a vaccine coming along. Football's changed in that period. You can't have 50,000 people turning up at the Etihad. You can't have that happening.
Yeah.
It's just worrying.
Okay, I'm just going to move this on because obviously we've been up to an hour on this, but just I want to finish on a last couple of points, or one point in particular, and that is about UEFA are going to meet on the 17th of June, which is ironic. It's the date that the first games in the Premier League are going to resume, and they said that they want the Champions League and the Europa League finished by August. Okay, so bearing in mind that I said before. Well, let me just get it out. 17th of June is when the Premier League is going to resume, with City versus Arsenal and Villa versus Sheffield United. We've also got the FA Cup in the UK, which is going to resume on the 27th and 28th of June. Then the semi-finals are going to be on the 18th and 19th of July, and the final is going to be on the 1st of August. Well, they're saying that they going to meet on the 17th of June. They want to make sure that the competitions, both Europa and Champions League, is finished by August. And they want the 2021 or 2020-21 campaign to start on September the 1st. So that's the Champions League and Europa League. Now, my final question, and we'll keep this very brief to everybody, is in the UK, I know it's different in other countries, but in the UK, we've introduced now government rules that say if you do leave the country and go on a flight, then you will have to self-quarantine for 14 days when you return. And if you are caught, there will be a potential massive fine or even imprisonment for that. So if you have to quarantine on your return to the UK for 14 days if you travel outside of the UK. How the hell are we going to get around this unless, again, like everything that's going on so far, footballers are different to every other industry. Tom, I'm going to come to you first on this one.
That's the argument that there's there. But I think if they're saying what they're saying about keeping them secluded and making sure that they're not coming into contact with anybody else, then I think that they should be all right. We'll see what happens with that. Obviously, further developments are going to come at some point of what's going to happen next. But I think that they should be all right. I think, obviously.
Okay, I'll stop you there then. If you think of, and this is my industry, if you think of the dynamics of getting on a flight, how many people do you think you are going to interact with? And let's imagine, because the argument could come up, yeah, no, but they'll be tested and they'll be, okay, you tell me every single person they can come in contact with, going to an airport, walking through an airport, checking in, going through security being one of the biggest transmitters of COVID or potential transmitters of COVID, an airport security area, going to a boarding gate, getting on board an aircraft. Martin suddenly disappeared. I don't know why he's disappeared. I've got a sneaky feeling he might be nipping off for a fag. Then getting on board an aircraft, does that mean that your crew, pilots, cabin crew, are all going to be tested as well for that particular flight? If not, and then they bring them the same process coming back into the UK, or each one of those areas going to be tested at each point? Are the crew going to be tested, bringing the players back on an aircraft that said this unless and it could be private, it might be a private jet and it might be a private charter and things like that, but all of those going to be tested as well?
I'd like to hope that they are. You know, the City's plane's private anyway. They have their own private jet anyway, and they have their own private pilots, which suggests to me that everything will be involved inside the club anyway. And everybody who's employed on the plane to help them out is employed by the club. So technically, I'd say, honestly, the security is a problem, but we can resolve ways of getting through security without it infecting anybody by keeping the social distancing and stuff. But I think that the cabin crew and the pilot, I think because they're employed by the club, technically they'll be part with the players and the manager and all the coaching staff too.
Yeah, the aircraft's just a livery. It's just got the Etihad stuff on it. The aircraft flies around all over the place on a normal commercial aircraft.
They have their own private jet. It's a small one.
It's a normal aircraft.
Yeah. But
can I say something?
Yeah,
quickly. I'm just looking on the internet now. I can't see this happening because one of the 14-day rule. Just because of football, you can't make one rule for one and not for the other. And Spain,
they can. But they can.
Yeah, hang on. Spain will not lift their quarantine rules in Madrid till the 1st of July, which basically means that game cannot be played between Real Madrid. So basically, Real Madrid players come here, they have to do 14 days. They go back, they have to do another 14 days.
Yeah.
That's
no, they can come here and go back, but they'd have to do 14 days back in Madrid.
Well, they have to do 14 days in England as well.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they would. I think they could travel here and travel back, but if they return back to their own country, they'd have to do 14 days. Same like you don't have to do 14 days in Spain if you go to Spain and come back on holiday. You can go to Spain on holiday, have 2 weeks in Spain, and then come back here. But because you come back here, you have to do 14 days quarantine. So it'll be the same for them.
I know. UK,
but it's still 14 days.
UK is not controlling coronavirus. The figures, the stats don't lie.
No, I mean,
it's all about money. It's all about cash for the Premier League. It's all about cash for the economy in the UK. That's all it's about getting people back to work. They're taking a huge risk here. The perfect example, the Atletico Madrid fans went to Anfield the first week of the lockdown. Look what happened in the Northwest because of that.
Well, I think the scientists said that they made a guesstimate on the Cheltenham and they made a guesstimate on the Atletico Madrid Liverpool game. They said they reckoned somewhere between, I think it was 300 to 500 people at the Liverpool game would have contracted coronavirus from that particular game. So,
how many at Wembley?
Well, they mentioned Cheltenham and everything else. Yeah, go on, Karl.
Andy, I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to find a way, based on the money, to make sure this happens. And I'll tell you this: I think even our club is going to figure out a way to make sure that they reinforce any controls and processes to make sure this happens. There will be exceptions made by August. I think June and July, 14 days, but I think by August the 1st, that there will be exceptions to the rule, much like they've done now with. I think it's going to happen.
I don't think there will be a rule then.
I think. I mean, you're saying that, Martin, but we know from other countries what's going on at the moment, and there are countries that R rate is going up. And the predictions.
1st of July, they're opening. Quarantine's gone.
The predictions by scientists are saying there will be a second spike without shadow of a doubt.
I agree.
Now, what happens? What happens in July, end of June, July, when this second spike goes like that? If it does, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it won't. Maybe we'll just keep. Maybe the government will just keep the R rate below 1.0 so that they can keep everything going and not give a shit about the general public. I don't know.
The argument we hear about the quarantine and social distancing is to prepare the hospitals for people who get sick, to give them PPE and ventilators. The assumption is that by the second spike, you should have enough of that equipment to deal with whatever comes forward. That's the assumption. We'll see what happens.
Well, yeah.
Just maybe the way around it is to do international eyesight tests. Maybe that's the way around it. there will be a rule brought in to make sure that it happens. That's what they'll do. You know, it is all about the money, and you know, that's the way it is.
About the comment,
they'll have a test.
Andy, I do want you to monitor something, though, if you don't mind, Andy, over when it starts. Monitor the reaction from the media, the great media, and certain fan base with the championship competition. Monitor the change in perception, the change in behavior when it starts.
Yeah. Oh, we know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen with that one. We do. Right, okay. We better end it there. That's the end of part 1. Guys, listen, that's the end of part 1. Take care. And don't forget to check out part 2, which is the golden question on the Friday Night Social. We'll see you soon.